Welcome to the Multifamily Masterclass, How to Finance and Multifamily Acquisition Today. I am Jeff J. Cunningham, your host today. This is, even though this on the right looks like a unit that just looks something you pass, this could look like freedom to you. We're going to explain exactly how to do it and how the best day ever was when I invested in my first real estate. All right. So, by the way, who here is in Boston? Anybody in Boston? I know where Sheet is. Okay. In Boston, we actually are doing for seasoned investors, finance your deal like a seasoned investor, meetups with Robert in Boston. I'm going to be going out to the next one there. Write down on your notes, Boston. Boston is actually a good market. And there's a lot of reasons why, aside from Robert living there. That's a good enough reason. We're going to start actually doing some more events there. It has the more sophisticated investors there. We also do stuff in Miami as well. So we did our first, I think it was our second one, but we're going to be doing one coming up soon. Okay. So if you make a trip out to Boston, I want to make a better memory because the last time I was in Boston, my ex-girlfriend took me to Quincy Market and she broke my heart. So I need better memories. By the way, we're also going to be in Miami October 2nd. So write down October 2nd, Miami. Okay. We're going to do a really good style. This way you can meet some real estate investors. Everybody in here, we're going to break out outside of a bigger event out there and do that right here. Probably in Adventura over there. Might even use this little office here. I run little workshops out of this office where I'm in there. And then I want to get these in monthly. So we're having monthly meetups, monthly accountability to grow the Finance Insider community. It is growing strong. It is great people. You cannot fund real estate by yourself. And one of my favorite places to be and one of the best markets to be is Texas. I always dreamed of owning real estate in Texas. Back when I first went there for my first TV show interview, and I was just overwhelmed by the people. Has anybody here in the chat, has anybody been to Texas? Texas is phenomenal. I live in Miami and Boston. Wow, these are like three places that have my heart. Okay, so really quick. Okay, so who's this guy? Why is Jeff J. Cunningham? Where's Robert? Right. Well, I'm Jeff J. Cunningham. I'll go over the John 330 in a second, but I'm the CEO of Changing Life Consulting. Okay, it's a marketing consulting firm, and we build out a whole bunch of we help people get known, right? Like Robert, okay? Because my whole goal is if you get the people from the people who have the information that have it, the information who need it, you'll change lives. I'm a real estate investor, and I'm gonna be actively pursuing a lot of deals coming up this year and into next. And I'm going to explain the really strong why behind that. And I acquired my first 4-unit with absolutely no money down, which was very similar how Robert did it, which he'll share out later on. I'm an investor in a lot of different companies, of quite a few different companies, and a business consultant. I own equity in PostFlow, Progretta Software, and other SaaS companies. And I'm the podcast host, the Make More Money podcast. And we also have now the new Jeff J. Cunningham podcast. And I also have been paid to speak now, and I have a new book coming out. Also, John 3:30, that verse is, he must increase, I must decrease. I put that underneath my name because sometimes you have some accomplishments at a young 40 years old. I'm 40, by the way. I won't ask how old people are because sometimes people think I'm really young, but I'm growing up the wisdom in my beard here. You know, eventually I'll be as wise as Robert. Okay. So how I acquired this 4-unit with my property down. So who here has looked at 4 units before? Who here has had a 4-unit before? All right. I'm going to explain the pros and cons of it right now. Okay. The pro, whether you bought your one real estate, who here owns a house? Okay. If you own a house, put it in the chat. Yes. If you own any part of real estate, even your house. Okay. Because if you've done that, it's easier to then go out and do other deals. Okay. But this is my first real estate deal. I didn't spend a dime to even get the keys. I still remember walking the property, looking in, not knowing what to do. Okay. It changed my life. And it was also with another guy named Robert. He was a broker that I found who helped me get this deal. Okay. So maybe I'll name a kid named Robert eventually, right? If the wife likes it. But it's definitely not my last. Later, I'm going to show you how I did it, the tools I used, and how much money I had by leaving on the table and I have a mentor like Robert DiMangelo. And now I'm expanding to global business real estate because literally wealth has no borders. I've been blessed to travel the world, and I'm always looking at different markets of real estate. Hey, the one thing I do want to say, I'm gonna explain it right now. This is what I did, okay? I found a property off market, which I'm really good at finding off market properties. Inside the club, I'm about to share an off market 136 or a 36 unit. I think it's a 36 unit in Hollywood, Florida that just came across my table. I can't make sense out of it, right? But I would find the deal, okay? Then what I did was I brought the deal to, someone's calling me here. I brought the deal to a broker to make the deal, right? Kind of like a robber, right? And then I wound up having to negotiate the deal down. And because who here is not really good at keeping a lot of money in? I was a risky entrepreneur. I had a SaaS company. I had no money in my account. Okay. I was literally living on someone was trying to, I was literally living on credit cards, just like Robert. And I acquired this deal by basically getting an in-can loan. I loaned for the closing cost, $5,000 seasoned money into my account by my rich uncle. Okay, we all have a rich uncle. Everybody know Uncle G, by the way, Grant Cardone. That's I think how me and Robert got hooked up in this whole deal. But Grant has been a mentor for both of us in certain ways. But this is really where it kind of takes off, right? And then I was able to acquire this unit, no money down. This was in Manchester, Connecticut, and it cash flowed day one. Okay. There were definitely issues with it. There was definitely tenants. Everybody said I wound up selling it for like 82K profit, and I moved to Miami. Okay. So it changed my life. But why did I start living real estate? And I want to hear your why. Right now, I want you guys to put your why in here. So I think somebody did put it in their chat. I'm going to read them all later on. But why do you want it? Would you want the French financial freedom? So this is why I want it. Kokomo Jays is the name of my brother. Okay. Jay was my older brother. Unfortunately, I lost him. He passed away on drugs, fentanyl years ago. And I vowed to build a business we talked about, a coffee shop before he passed away in honor of him. There's a quote, if you help enough people get where they want, you get to where you want. And I just started helping people. I started going to all these mentorships and masterminds like you guys probably all do. And they've changed my life because of certain people I met. And my vision, just like you see the golden arch of McDonald's, which if you know the story of McDonald's, anybody know the story of McDonald's? You can put it in the chat if you do, right? What they invest in? How did McDonald's become big, right? He bought out from brothers, but he bought the real estate. And as I live in beautiful Midtown Miami here, and I keep calling up places to call my coffee shop, they're like, oh, you can't have a coffee shop here because someone else already has it or this because I don't own the property, I'm leasing it, right? So I'm going to learn real estate like the best of the best. And I'm going to invest in so much stuff. So that way they can't tell me. It's like, nope, I can say who it is, right? As I'm a business owner, that's kind of where it is. But the whole point, and I want a lot of the Finance Insider community, this will happen probably within the next 3 years, is, when we have our Finance Insider meetups, you'll see Kokomo J's in your market, maybe one in San Diego, maybe one in wherever it is, where was somebody else there? Naples, Florida, right? And we expand them. We could do our Finance Insider Club meetups and talk real estate. All right. So I'm gonna play this video by Robert. And by the way, this is my why. Let me look in the chat really quick and see what you guys have for your whys here. See if I gotta come off screen to do this. Because it's very important because this is not the hardest, especially when you have a mentor like Robert, but it's not the easiest. And I left money. So let me see. I'm getting the chat here. Legacy, yes, freedom. Okay, that's good. All right, very good. All right. So legacy and freedom, those are big words. What else we got? Residual income, generational wealth. Oh, Rashid is here. What up, Rashid? Rashid was the one person who picked up. I tried to call a lot of you guys before here. All right. Rashid, I don't know if you were here from the beginning, but we'll get back into it. All right. The good point is Robert's coming on now. You guys all feel like family already. Financial freedom. This is a great group, by the way. Great people here, very active. That's one thing I love about this. Real estate you can't do by yourself. We all have different God-given gifts, so we need each of every person on here. I just trying to get the communication and go back. All right. So this is it. So Robert went from a wipeout on Wall Street. He was a Wall Street guy to basically a Main Street to Wall Street, right? To $1 million commission. I'm gonna watch the story here, right? Just like The Big Short. Anybody see The Big Short in here? Put yes if you've seen The Big Short in the chat. On the live, my why would be to leave the world in a higher state of consciousness. Great. Yes, yes. All right, perfect. So this, I'm gonna play Robert's story. Let me know, raise your hand if you can hear the volume on the story here.
Your podcast is give everyone a chance, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I can tell you that I'm always to give everyone a chance because I know where some of your folks are starting in a place which is really difficult. They don't know which way to go. Maybe they're interested in building wealth in real estate. And I want to say this is for me, giving me a second chance because seriously, you remember the movie, The Big Short? It was about the subprime meltdown, right? Okay.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So if I focus on that section of my bio, $100 million hedge fund manager, at that time when the Big Short occurred, when the subprime market crashed, I was heading up that $100 million hedge fund in which we invested in mortgages, whole loan mortgages, pre-securitization, and we did workouts. It was distressed debt, and that's how we created returns. But long story short, when the subprime market melted down, so did my hedge fund. So did my own net worth, which was in the hedge fund. And not only did I watch the movie as you did, but I experienced it one-on-one. I had to shut my fund down, and literally the losses were astronomical. We lost Lehman Brothers. We lost Merrill Lynch. How many major financial firms had catastrophic meltdowns, including my own? So where am I going with this? Where I'm going is that I ended up living on credit cards with 2 teenage daughters.
So really quick, by the way, Robert literally went from people walking on his life, 2 teenage daughters by himself.
I was a single dad trying to make ends meet. And all I had was my wits and my experience in finance to be able to dig myself out of this. Okay. And what I did was I started to identify investment opportunities that I could acquire, and literally using the strategies that I employ and that I learned over 30 years. In my very first transaction, I made $1 million with other people's money and made great returns for my investors. And I still own those assets today. So what I'm getting at is you have newbies here, people that are starting out, that don't know which way to turn. Well, at the end of the day, it really all is about financing real estate. Because if you can't finance it, if you can't drive a car, you got a nice car in the driveway, but you don't know how to operate it, doesn't do you any good. If you find a great piece of real estate, but you don't know how to buy it, you don't know how to finance it, doesn't do you any good. So I'm here to share with you the knowledge and experience that I have learned over my years that hopefully can help folks on this call to make the next step in moving their net worth and their goals.
So that's the story of Robert, how he came here. He lived the Big Short, everything lost, came back out of nowhere. Really one of the most likable, knowledgeable guys I've known. And by the way, there's all these big, I look probably more like one of the gurus that go on. I want to take it off, but the lady I was talking to likes it. But in all seriousness, Robert literally is one of the greatest guys I've met in my lifetime. I'm gonna go a little crazy about this. He's giving me advice about what girl I should marry and everything. And this is him working back in the day. Robert found himself, this is him working Lehman Brothers, right? And leveraging all his knowledge to basically have his comeback. And that's what he's doing for you. Okay. Robert is a testimony to resilience. Even today, I see him. He's actually in a flight right now. He's just at one of Grant Cardone's real estate meetups. I don't know if anybody was there or you heard about it. That's just where he was, out with a lot of the club members. A lot of his club members are part of that. He was spending time with them, right? And Robert has proven resilience and experience and strategy and the right financial moves. One thing Robert says to me all the time is, Jeff, it's all in the numbers. He says it to everybody. Actually, everybody write down in the chat, it's all in the numbers. I want that to be a t-shirt. This is my goal for it. And we all wear it around because life's the numbers game. Blood pressure, car insurance, right? Everything. You got to know the rent you got to pay, right? And instead of you have to pay in the rent, it's better when people are paying you the rent, right? So I want, if people are serious, it's all in the numbers. It's all in the numbers. So Rashid, right? Don't you love that? And by the way, he came up with that. We're making t-shirts, okay? It's happening, all right? So these were recently financed by him. These are not like little deals, okay? This one here is 9.2 million, 13.7, right? 6 million. This is what he does every single day. All right. It's finance deals. So he is an expert strategy. You guys are getting this in on the ground floor. Okay. Of it. So I'm actually gonna have him share the 3 secrets. I don't think we had his bio. I was looking for his bio, but he works for Marks and Millichap. Who here knows about Marks and Millichap? Anybody? Yes, Zoe does. Okay, perfect. So that's his day job all day. So he's very familiar with this. Also, Rashid, he has an MBA in Kellogg. I see you have an MBA. So this is a bright group of people in here, right? And by the way, not everybody's even the brightest either. You don't need to be brightest. That's how you're in the best room. When you're not, like I feel like I'm the least brightest in this room, right? And I love it because then I'm learning by everybody else, right? So we're gonna play Robert. I'm gonna play a video. Make sure you guys can hear it. It's him explaining it because he just breaks it down so well. And then I'm gonna come on the end. I'm gonna take some questions, and we have an actual special deal later today. So I'm gonna play the 3 secrets of finance right now. He's gonna explain it, and if you can hear the sound, just put yes in the chat.
But let's talk about 3 secrets that I think are important to kind of fast forward you guys as to where you need to be able to be successful in this business. And it truly is an amazing business where you can be successful, highly wealthy. I have clients worth $100 million that have been just buying small apartment complexes their whole lives, 10 or 20 years, and you have just racked up the net worth. But let's talk first of all about underwriting made simple. I'm going to share with you guys what is really work product. This is it's not fancy. It's actually probably a bit confusing, but I want you to know that we don't sanitize our work and send it to you. This is the stuff that we use every day to look at deals. So here's a spreadsheet that I use that allows you to underwrite a quick underwrite on a deal and get a quick valuation on a deal in under 5 minutes. And you do it by obtaining a small handful of basic, easily accessible information. And by inputting it, this calculates this program into the yellow areas. And that will give you an idea whether or not you should waste your time on a deal, or whether or not you need to pay a different price, or whether or not you should just pass on the deal and move on to the next one. And for any of you that have an understanding of the business at this point, I can truly tell you the ability to be able to compress that time and to be able to look at a deal quickly and then move on if it doesn't, not waste time, is a critical component to your success, okay? Anybody have any questions so far? And I'm going to get into this. Okay, we'll get questions on the end. So this is actually the 24 units that I just showed you on the screen that I own currently. And all we input here was the average rent. So we took the rent roll and we added up total rents for the month and then divided by 24 units. And the average rent was $1,118. And I might point out that we were about $200 at least below the market. I input 24 units here. And you see, this can change. See, all you got to do is input the numbers. The 1118, if that was 5,500 or 5,000, but it's not, it's 1118. So this calculates for you, really simple and easy. Gives you your monthly rent, and that extrapolates out to the annual rent or top line revenue for the property. So now we're going to plug in a vacancy factor. If it's 5% or less, just use 95% occupancy. If it's greater, you can change it to a different number. As you can see, these whatever you need to put in there. Easy information. Then any additional income. The property has laundry and so forth. So we estimated about 5% of the revenue, additional revenue, comes into the property for 105%. And you to add that to the top, this number, you just make this a 105 or a 103, whatever the number is. Okay. And it will calculate that for you. This is pretty simple stuff. Now, this is where a little guesswork comes in, believe it or not. Remember, this is a phase 1 of our underwriting. We have a phase 2 in-depth underwriting model, which I think I'll share with you. Maybe not. But now we want to just say, okay, so here's a relatively medium-aged property. What do we estimate the expenses are? And we know that we pay heat and hot water. So we're going to say if it was a new property, they might be 30%. If it was a middle-aged property, 40%, and an older property, perhaps 50%. So we're going to pick 40%. We're trying to just estimate how this deal works. Now you have inputs here where you can change the price, You can add any closing costs, an LTV, as well as an interest rate. Now, you'll note the rate here is 375. Well, that was the rate when I did this deal. So what's interesting to see and why the market has slowed down so much and why opportunities are coming up is look at this deal here. What we're looking at is that right here is your debt service coverage ratio, 142. Does everybody see that? Can that, you show of hands? Can everybody see that's what's calculated here?
Yes.
Right, okay? And if we change this, it changes your debt service coverage ratio, any one of these input factors, okay? But what we're looking at is a 142 debt service cover, and this is your cash on cash amortizing return at 628. It's a little messy, but it gives you the data that you need. And what am I getting at here? I wanted to talk to you, first of all, that we did pay 3.5 for the property. We did have 4% in closing costs, and we did have a 75% loan to value. So this deal looks quite good. If this was just an initial look, that's all we got to do, guys. Wow, at 3.5 million, it's got a 142 debt service cover, which is super important. You need to understand that that's one of the major factors on whether or not our deal will work. And then look at the cash on cash return, 2 critical factors for round 1 in underwriting a deal. Now, let me show you something interesting. We've seen rates go up recently, right? So if you were to take this, if I paid 3.5 for it, and I were to take the current rate of 6.5, wow, look at that. It doesn't even debt service at 6.5. This has been what's going on, guys. We never would have been able to pay 3.5 for that property at 6.5% interest rates. And it had a negative cash on cash return. So the interest rates are a major factor here in any investing you do. You can even change the pricing in here without messing this up. And that'll change your cap rate here in this factor area here. So bottom line, all this is a quick calculator. It's got more moving parts to it if you're doing monthly seller financing, balloon, or monthly payments, etc. But I'm showing you the bank version of it, and it will allow you to make a quick decision on a deal. Does everybody see that? Anybody? You see that? I see you writing in the chat box. Okay. Okay, so now question for you guys. Looking at this deal, looking at a 142 debt service cover, I want to see a show of hands, please, and a cash on cash return of 6.28%. Would that be something you think would be worth pursuing?
Put a show of hands in the chat, guys.
Absolutely. Thank you,
Timothy,
Kenneth. Absolutely, Paul.
Thank you, Timothy.
Absolutely, Leo.
Timothy.
Yep. Jessica, yes. Those are the 2 factors. You've got a treasury with the 10-year close today, Kenneth. Do you know?
At 4.3, I believe.
4.3. Okay, so if I can get 6.5% here, I'm doing better than a 10-year treasury.
Great.
Probably should compare it to the 5-year because it's a 5-year deal. But at the end of the day, you're still going to be. So if I'm getting a better return than a treasury, upside in the deal, tax benefits, and yeah, it makes sense. And you can also evaluate this really quickly, guys, and then I'm going to move on. Just look at the cap rate versus the interest rate. If this interest rate was 6.5, that would be negative leverage because my interest rate is higher than my cap rate. Whereas conversely, if it's below, it's positive leverage. And if it were a 5.50 interest rate, you'd have neutral leverage on the deal. But you already know if you've got 6.5 money and you're buying at a 5.5 cap, that's not going to work. Everybody get that? Right? Deal's going to have a hard time working. Now, there are other factors that come in to play, but that's that. So look, I'm going to move on from this. Anybody have any questions on this real quick before we close this out? Nobody? Okay. Well, Grant Cardone says go ahead. What's that?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I have a quick question about the expenses ratio. I was under the impression that most banks would like to see somewhere around some of the banks would like to see somewhere around 30% plus, right? Is that accurate? Do we? Because you went 40%.
Can you repeat that question one more time? I didn't.
My question on this, let's say you have a class. I'm coming back to what you say about the expenses ratio.
Yeah.
If you have a class A building, where would you put the expenses over there? 40 or 30%?
I would go with a Class A newer building, I'd go 30,
Okay, thank you.
maybe even 25. That's what I'm saying. It's just, again, this is phase one underwriting. It's just a guess. You looked at it, you pulled it up, you got the OM, or you saw it online and you're saying, okay, where does this deal work? And this gives you an idea. So now it's worth, as we can all see, it's worth putting more effort into full underwriting on this property, which includes detailed expenses and so forth. Now, all of this spreadsheet and the detailed underwriting models are all available on our platform, which I'll share with you in a little while, that give you free access to that stuff if you're a member of our mastermind. Any other questions before I close this out? Okay, great. All right, so let's now talk about the next stage. So we've done a quick underwriting, and yes, I'm going to jump ahead, and we're not going to even do the phase two underwriting. It doesn't apply here today. We may look at it later. But what we want to look at now is well, how do we get, we got to raise some equity on this deal, and is it going to work for our investors? So I'm going to show you a syndication waterfall that we put together for all of our deals that allow us to determine, and this is hard to do because it's on a small screen, but it allows us to determine rates of return and whether or not a deal makes sense for investors, okay? Now, this is the actual waterfall for Talbot and County that you saw above, and I'll kind of see if I can run through it quickly with you, but this is the next step in the process once you've determined you want to buy a deal and if you want to syndicate it. Now, this is an 80-20 split, and it can be anything you want. It can be 70-30, 80-20. But the bottom line is it has to generate the returns that investors are looking for. And that would be, somewhere around a upper teens to low 20s on an IRR basis, cash on cash of around 6 or better, and then a decent equity multiple. And now, if I look at this is the A share investor returns, and this is the B share investor returns, and the B share is the GP, and the A share is the LP investors. And I'm going to show you a specific LP investment here in a minute. But let me ask you guys a question. Does everybody see down here below? And remember, this is a finance course. So we're looking at how we can create returns for ourselves, and then ultimately as well, make sure we create reasonable returns for our investors. But if you'll note here, these are basically infinite returns. I had to put $1 in here because this was a deal I was able to do with no money because I worked with investors. Now, anybody here know what an acquisition fee is? Familiar with that in a syndication?
Yes.
Yes, Leo does, okay. Well, look, for those of you that aren't familiar with it, the acquisition fee is anywhere from 3 to 5% of the purchase price of the property, where you as the sponsor are allowed to charge that, and your investors don't have to pay it, they just don't do the deal. But that's what you're allowed to charge, that's reasonable. And in this deal, we did a 3% acquisition fee, which equates to 3% of a $3.5 million purchase is $105,000. So how do we create net worth out of thin air? Not only did we create net worth out of thin air as a GP, but also we created net worth out of thin air because we syndicated and structured an acquisition fee. I want you to notice this is a breakdown of each of the investors in this deal. And right here is me. Is $100,000 that I didn't have going in, but coming out, I had $100,000 to invest. And I was able to put that in the A share alongside my A share investors. So not only am I getting the economics of the B share GP running the deal, but I also have $100,000. Now I could have taken that as cash, but I decided to put it back into the deal, which is fairly standard. Okay. But the key here is, honestly, you really need to make sure a deal works because you want to make sure that you're creating investment returns, A, that you're going to be able to raise equity capital for, and B, you want to give, obviously, investors a reasonable return on their investment dollar, because if you're only doing it for a structure and fee, don't do it. It's not the right thing to do, and it's not appropriate for investors. But does everybody understand the acquisition fee and how that alone created $100,000 in cash flow and equity for me? Everybody see that? Got it? Okay. Basically, guys, without going into too much detail on this, Sean Sullivan's on here. Hey, Sean, how are you? I've been trying to catch up with you, man. I left you a couple of messages. Give me a call, please. You there?
Can you hear me? Ah, there he is. Anyway, Sean's come to a couple of my webinars. I wanted to catch up with him. But anyway, needless to say, what you have here is a situation where, if you look at the economics here, the breakdown on this deal is a 80-20 split. And once we hit a 10% return on the cash flow to investors, the split changes to 60-40. So for all intents and purposes, for simplicity's sake, as the GP, I ultimately end up with 40% of the deal. Well, the deal was purchased at 3.5. It's probably worth $5.5 million today. And we owe about $2.6 million on it. So that's about $3 million in equity in the deal. At a 40% capture on that, from my standpoint, that's over $1 million if we were to cash this out today at that price. So there are other factors. It's probably not as high as 1.2 million, but when you consider my stake in the deal, my equity, and then the ownership of that 100,000, which is slated to double, there'll be $1 million in net worth for me out of a deal which effectively put no money in. Does everybody see that? Got it? Okay. And I want to point out to you the returns to A-share investors, whether it's me or anybody else, is a 670, a 22 IRR, 248 equity multiple, and the cash on cash was averaging about 8. So very strong deal. Anybody have any questions on this? I know I'm speed walking through it, but I have no choice because it's too in-depth. There are many other tabs here that feed into this, but I wanted to give you an idea of what a waterfall looks like that you need to create in order to understand with a 5-year model how to pay investors. This is nothing more than a fancy profit distribution model. Everybody get that? Any questions?
Robert, I do have one question. Did you
Sure.
have to a key principal to PG to debt, or was it recourse debt or non-recourse debt that you guys assumed or obtained?
No, that's a great question. You can do any of the three. I mean, you can go and do an agency transaction on the debt and there'll be non-recourse, right? Or as the GP, if you have the ability to do it, you can PG the deal, which I was able to do that. Part of that has to do, Kenneth, with my relationships with lenders. Because my net worth was a little thin at the time. But they allowed me to do so. And then additionally, you could do a non-recourse deal, recourse, non-recourse, whichever way. But the other thing that you can do if you guys are starting out, if you don't have a strong net worth, you can partner up with somebody who's got a balance sheet that can come in and take a piece of the deal. They may not even do any work. They just put up their balance sheet and they sign on the dotted line to secure the deal. That make sense? Kenneth, that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Anybody else before I close this out? Okay, well, forever hold your peace because this is what a syndication model looks like. And the deal that I'm working at right now is actually blowing doors on this one, especially with the tax benefits. So, and this one did great. All right. So look, we underwrote the deal. We did a simple underwriting. Then we went to a phase 2 underwriting, which I'm not showing you here. I will show you later. And then we structured a waterfall so we know what investors were going to get. And now we had to determine how to get the money. And that is probably what the most difficult thing can be when you're doing a deal. Anybody here? Show me a show of hands. Who is kind of wary about raising equity? That kind of is a fearful thing for them. Is there anybody here that feels that way? Or you're all okay? Yes. Yeah, it's raising equity can be daunting and seems very challenging, but there's a secret to it, and the secret is really the deal speaks for itself. Because I don't think that there's anybody here on this call that if I showed them this deal, Talbot and County, back at that point with a 21, 22 IRR or better, 6, 7, 8% cash on cash return, etc., that they wouldn't, if they had the liquidity, that they wouldn't take advantage of that deal. So the key here is to obviously get yourself in a situation where you can get that deal to work well based on the proper cash flows in the waterfall. And if the numbers are there, then the deal will really raise itself. Now, Grant Cardone, a lot of you know who Grant Cardone is, and I ascribe to this approach that he uses. And he says, when you do a deal, you do it in 3 steps, in this order alone. And there's a lot of reasons why. Number 1, you find the deal. Number 2, you find the debt before the equity. Number 3, you find the equity. Kind of the real secret behind that is you got a great deal, you got it under contract, you've got the financing in place. Now it's just a function of going to investors saying, here's the projected returns, everything's in order. Do you want in? That's a lot easier than calling somebody and saying, hey, you want in my deal? I don't have any financing yet. I don't know what my interest rates are going to be. It's not under contract. That doesn't work. It must be done in that order in order to create success. Okay. So let's talk quickly about the simple approaches that we have. These, what I'm going to show you, are available on our website or in our group club, our mastermind, that you can use to raise your own capital. And this is what would be called a finance request package. Now, Kenneth will agree with me, I'm sure, on this. You guys do FRPs when you're putting a deal out to the street, Ken?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Why am I showing this to you? Because first of all, you should hire a broker like Ken or me or Ken, I guess, maybe in that order. But you should hire a broker because they'll really help. I mean, they charge you, yes, they do. But if you're new, they'll put this kind of a package together for you, which will give a summary of your deal. You got to know, guys, lenders are lazy. No offense. They want a nice, clean package, everything laid out for them. They see a lot of deals. And if you don't have something like this to share with them, you're going nowhere. So if you're going to do it yourself, we have this kind of a package available to you on our platform, which is there and available to you at any time that you can jump in and create a finance request package. And it's made up of things like, this is the rent roll, this is the sources and uses. You just plug the numbers in and you will have this package that
Before we get to Bob's question, it's raining here in Miami now. We have how do you say your name? Olenka, you have a question? So you guys can raise them. We'll take questions. I know it's a lot. By the way, I learn stuff every time I watch this. I've watched this many times. But this is valuable stuff. I've joined a lot of, who else has joined real estate masterminds before? And I've never seen it like, this is the step, this is the step, this is the step, right? Gives me a huge amount of confidence. So if you can come off mute, I think Orlando had a question in here because I want to get some of the live people on here. Let me read through some of the questions. The chat's going up here. I'm driving. I keep losing sound. We'll see a replay. Yes, Barbara, we'll give you a replay. This is very clever. It's nice, right? So this is like the missing link. No sound, lost voice, audio died. Oh, I know why the audio died because I muted myself. Because there was somebody in here. All right, well, we'll get back to audio. That's what we were saying. All right.
He was just putting his.
By the way, that's how you know it's good. I was testing you guys, see if you're listening. I used to be a teacher at a behavioral middle school. I never say that. So when you go quiet, the students are listening.
All right, well, yeah, so anyway, there we go. That's basically it. Without going, we have these templates available. All they are is plug and play. Oh, this is an example of what our phase 2 underwriting looks like. And they're all plug and play. As you can see, it gets into the detailed expenses, creates cap rates for you, creates everything you need, debt service cover. It's all here and it's all available on our platform. All right, so we've now sourced the deal. Now we're trying to source the debt. And then the next thing is to source the equity, which everyone is always concerned about. And that is, the way we do it is very simply with an equity teaser. And this is the equity teaser that was for those 2 units those buildings that I'm sharing with you. And we have this template as well available. In fact, the deal I'm working on right now is the exact same format. We took the template, put the pictures in, and the text in is almost identical. So all it does is go into the property, some experience, some background on me. It then talks about the neighborhood. It gives you a layout on where the property is. But this is the key part you want to know. This was the preliminary projections for the deal. We paid a 6 pref on the deal. 80% net profits up to a 10 ceiling, 60% after a 10 ceiling, 22 IRR, equity multiple 2.6, an amazing deal. And it's continued to hit on all the cylinders that we set out to in this deal. All the projected costs, et cetera. And the financing was 5 years, 1.5 interest only. I think I have 347 here. This must have been an iteration. I think we ended up a little higher on the rate. But here is an IRR calculation that we take from Excel. This is also included in my current deal. And this is what happens to $100,000 investment in this deal. The annual income was about 9,000 projected for 100,000, 7,500, 8,100, 87, then 9,500, 9,486 plus a sale for 221. So your total returns were 254 on a $100,000 investment. This is generated directly by Excel. So there's nothing made up here. You just plug in the numbers and it generates this for you and you copy and paste it here. But again, this is available to you on the platform. We then go into any pictures, and I'm sorry to say, guys, but we left the toilet seat up here. So bad move there, but we still financed the deal. This is where it's located. And by the way, this is the old look before the new girlfriend. Anybody want to give me a vote? The new look or the old look? Let's give you hands for the new look. Nobody.
Well, at least I know you can hear.
Bob, okay, great.
By the way, I just cut my hair.
All right, well, yes, definitely I've had more feedback positive for the new look. So there we go. So Jeff likes the old look. Thanks, Jeff.
And that was before I
Did
cut.
change. Yeah, I've seen you do that. Sean, everybody do new wins, man. People love long hair, you know?
It seems to be much more popular. I don't know why, so. All right, anyway, so that's an equity teaser. This template is available, easy to fill, easy to work with, and you can go out and raise your equity once you understand the waterfall on how the deal's gonna work and how it will cash flow to investors. Does anybody have any questions on this?
Barbara says useful. Yeah, it is useful.
Okay, so let's move on from that.
By the way, I'm gonna pause really quick. I really love everybody here. I love your pay attention. Sorry that the audio went out for a second, but it shows how invested you are in it. And just great names in here. I can't wait to meet all you guys.
These are the 4 most important things that I think you really need to know, guys and gals. You need to know how to analyze multifamily investment properties. You need to understand capital stack and deal structuring. You need to understand creative financing strategies for multifamily deals. We teach 15 different creative financing strategies in our portfolio or in our class. And I want you to know something, that the deal I'm working on now has $4 million in seller financing at 5% interest only, and I'm syndicating the equity. So effectively speaking, again, I'm able to do this with no money out of my own pocket. I am absolutely living the strategies right now for my investors and for the whole deal that I preach and teach every day. I'm doing it as we speak. I'm walking my talk. So I'm not just one of these gurus out here that's never done it or done it once in their life. I do it over and over again, but there are methods to ways to get this done. Okay. So finally,
But one thing we didn't go over, Robert's financed over 3 billion of stuff. So he's like the human calculator. I could bring him something and he'll know it. It's such like, I've been searching around all these little mastermind deals before. I'm so lucky. And as you guys are and he's just a likable guy.
the most important part, I think, if is a key to being successful is multifamily syndication strategies, because no matter how much money you're having, and I went to a Grant Cardone event just recently, he said even himself, no matter how much money you have, you're always gonna run out of money someday in doing real estate deals. So if you have an expertise in syndicating, you now have the golden ticket to be able to really raise as much equity as you need if you're doing good deals. Everybody follow me? Okay, all right. So look, I've invested a lot of money and time over the last 30+ years in this business, probably invested between team and platforms and everything, about $500,000 to be around the best in the industry and create this program to give you the most value for your investment dollar. In fact, you got to ask yourself, if you could have all your answers from one source, you're learning this business without your own research, what would that be worth it to you? Now, if I created $1 million in net worth out of my first deal with no money out of my pocket, if it cost me $250,000 to get there, would that have been a good investment? Anybody? Yes. Does anybody? 250,000 to $1 million. That's a good investment, right? Okay, well, nothing here. For any of you that did answer, there is nothing here that's gonna cost 250,000. I'm just saying, if you had all that knowledge and it translated into that, it would absolutely be worth the investment. So let's talk a little bit about our 6-week Finance Pro Bootcamp. I want to introduce it to you. It's pretty amazing. There's really nothing like it because it's a Finance Pro Bootcamp. Because as I say, it's all in the numbers, okay? And here's a breakdown of the modules and the price associated with them, or the value associated with them. Week 1 is Introduction to Multifamily Financing, $297. Week 2 is multifamily financing, debt financing, and this is $2,000 with this module alone. I actually get real live lenders on the call who talk about, because many of you have never sat in front of a lender before. Kenneth, you have, and I have, but there's certain things that lenders look for in sponsors and deals, and I have actual lenders. Actually, Ken, you know Rockland, do you know Rockland Trust? You're not in New England, are you?
No, I'm not. No.
Okay, so I've got multi-billion-dollar banks, senior vice presidents. I've got all kinds of, I got 2 or 3 different lenders. I've got a bridge lender. I've got an agency lender. I've got a bank lender. All they talk about what they look for in sponsors and deals. I mean, that's priceless. And that's $1,900 alone. It's probably worth more than that. Equity financing for multifamily properties. The other side of creative financing, $1,497. Analyzing multifamily properties, $2,500 is a value for that part of the program. How to look at a deal, but not just how to underwrite. Because you know what? I think Ken will also agree with me. I don't mean to keep hitting you, Ken, but underwriting really becomes just plug and play. It's not that big of a deal as everyone thinks it is. It's how you interpret the numbers, how you make choices and decisions based on what the numbers are telling you. Would you kind of agree with that, Ken?
No, 100%. It is definitely plug and play, as long as you have a good model, because that's essentially my opinion. If you have a model, you're plugging and playing, and as long as you make certain that you input the correct numbers, you should be fine there.
Right. And so many gurus, we're going to teach you how to underwrite. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's great and all, but if you really spend a little bit of time on it, it doesn't take that, it's not that big of a deal. So we want to know how to analyze and interpret numbers, okay? 2,500. Creative financing strategies. I told you, we share 15 of them. 1,997. Negotiating financing terms. A lot of folks we don't get a lot of play on negotiation. Again, Ken, you probably know this. You can negotiate a deal right down to the commitment letter and still negotiate those terms.
All the time.
All the time, right? So, but people don't know this stuff. So they get blindsided. This is the nitty gritty of financing deals, guys. This is where it makes all the difference in your performance and your outcome. Multifamily syndication, that's 10 grand. That's the golden ticket. You can syndicate a deal and understand how to do it. It can change your life. Total value is 20,000. If it was coming in off the street, it would be 99.97. But stick with me, guys, because I'm going to show you what I put together for you for the 4th of July. Okay, it's really awesome.
Hi, guys. My name is
Listen to
Kevin
Kevin.
Kelly. I just wanted to come on here and make a quick video, give a big shout out to Mr. Robert Damigella. I am a recent graduate of his Finance Insider course. Just to give you a quick background about myself, I am a real estate agent. My business has been sort of migrating towards the commercial side of things as of late. So what I was looking to do was learn a little bit more about the finance side of things, how to put these deals together, how to underwrite these deals, be able to put these packages together to be able to present them to, lenders. What type of lender should I even talk to? These are questions that I had, and these are all things that I learned in the course. So whether you're coming from a business like mine, or if you're already in financing, or if you don't have any experience at all and you're just curious, I'd highly recommend this course. It's very informative. You'll even meet different lenders, have a chance to talk with them and ask them questions. So again, I would highly recommend this class. Robert, thank you again. Nelson, thank you. I appreciate everything that you taught us. I'm looking forward to the next course. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Kevin. Kevin's awesome. Kevin closed his second deal in the end of last year. And Kevin, and I'm going to tell you what the biggest measure of my success with my students are. Kevin invited me to his wedding. So there you go. That to me tells me he's happy. So here's a little bit to talk to you about what we also include in for that 99.97 is we have a mastermind, which is really quite amazing. And it's
Oh, I don't want to sleep on that. Kevin invited Robert to his wedding. Actually, if I get married, I'll probably invite Robert to my wedding too.
It's on the school platform. We're going to include 60 days free here. Check this out, guys. This is our home. This is where we meet every Monday.
By the way, I want to go over this platform right here. Is where all the things that you saw that really are right in here, and it's the community where if you have a question, you can ask it in here. It's really just our hub for the club.
Night to go over underwriting on deals. For example, if you look at the Monday uploads, you'll see that some deals got uploaded here. Yeah, this is David. David's the one that I told you about, who's got a deal under contract, but he's still looking. This is he uploaded the OM so we could review the deal, and I opine on the deal on Monday nights. I just clicked out of it. And then this is his underwriting model. I think he did a full underwriting on this deal, if I'm not mistaken. We'll take a quick look if it opens up here. Yeah, he did a 5-year pro forma, which he learned, and this is what model is available on the platform, guys. I know I'm throwing a lot at you, but there it is. He did it, he input the numbers. This deal's not covering, so we're still doing some more work on it, but this is what we make available to you guys. All the tools that you need to get out there and be successful, okay? This is our Monday night meeting. Look at all the deals everybody's uploading and we're going over every week, okay? Now, we have a community. We give updates on what's going on with the Fed, things like that on an ongoing basis, which we post every day. You can see this here. Massive tax breaks. What do we got? 10-year treasury leap, different things like that. We keep everybody updated. We have a calendar, our members. We actually have a leaderboard, guys. We're competing here, guys. We're competing to see who's the #1 person out there finding deals to make you guys accountable. So you're out searching out and finding deals and getting them underwritten every step of the way along the process. When you get an LOI out, when you get a deal under contract, whatever, it allows you to move further up the leaderboard. So this is our club. Here's our classroom. Check this out. Look at all the stuff that's available to you as a member in our mastermind. Tutorials. The toolbox is right here where we have all of our underwriting templates.
That's everything.
Deal teaser template that I just showed you. Finance request template. How to calculate IRR. I mean, this is a library here, guys. There's so much here. These are the quick calculators I just showed you that you can download and fill out. Every one of the 6-week, this is the whole program. Weekly club recordings. I mean, it's debt and lending, cost segregation. The underwriting models here are pretty amazing. You'll never find it anywhere because my analyst here at Marcus and Millichap, who's underwritten over $1 billion worth of deals, recorded these, stabilized, value add, mixed use, all here, okay? So there's a ton, contracts, you name it, it's all here. So this is our platform, guys, for our mastermind. So by signing up, price is $99.97. By signing up, you also get 60 days free in the mastermind, which is terrific. And then in addition to that, and this is a mastermind like none other, you're gonna get confidence in yourself and your deals. And by the way, all of our students, Kevin, David, many others, when you get a deal under contract, you don't have to wonder where you're gonna go to get the financing. Ken, you're probably not gonna wanna like what I'm gonna say, but we'll source your debt for you. We're a national firm. So if you say, hey, I wanna buy a deal in California, we'll get the debt for you. That's part of being in this group, okay? We've got an exclusive tools, all the templates, the underwriting models, blah, blah, blah. We're limited to 100 members. We've got about 50 right now. So what else makes us different is that not only will we teach you the skills, but if you run into a deal that you can't handle on your own, that you are over your skis, well, we're on your team and we will join up with you in your deal if it makes sense. If the deal works and looks like it makes sense, we can help you tackle it, help you fund it, help you be on in your GP structure, whatever we need to get you through the process. So our goal is to arm each and every one of our members with knowledge, expertise, and tools to finance and acquire multifamily properties with or without the capital. So here's what you do. Call to action. You apply for the program. You're going to gain access to the knowledge to take advantage of all the deals that are maturing, all the loans, learn strategies that help you to build wealth. And then obviously the way to get started is to, oh, I forgot to add, guys. We're also going to throw in the digital version of the class. So not only do you take it live with me, get 60 days in the mastermind, but you're also then going to get the live program free, the recorded program free as part of your membership costs. So total value, if you add all that stuff up, about 46,000. Okay, let's listen to one of my students for a minute. Where you have a heart attack, it's not going to be 40.
Hi there, I'm Judith. I am new to real estate investing and I participated in the Finance Insider Multifamily Finance Bootcamp. And then I transitioned to the class. So I just need for you to know I am completely out of my element, but Bob and Nelson have really provided a lot of information as well as how engaged they are during the classes, answering every participant's question if they have any, and they're accessible afterwards if you have follow-up questions. They provided incredible resources that assist with underwriting, with securing financing. They had speakers that actually bolstered all of that as well. And you're able to network with not only like-minded people, but experienced investors that will guide you and direct you and let you know if you have a viable deal. So if you're on the fence about joining this group, you should definitely do it. Whether you're a seasoned investor or a newbie like myself, I highly recommend it.
Thank you, Judith. Judith's awesome. So guess what we're doing? It's the 4th of July, it just passed the other day, but our sale is still on. We're gonna knock off $6 grand, $39.97. First 10 applications accepted. You know, we'll do it this project.
By the way, guys, just so you know, we were gonna up this before them because Robert's on a plane and he's actually in Arizona. We were like, he's like, Jeff, let's cancel the webinar. And I said, no, Robert, for this to grow, I can hold down the fort. So he's like, Crazy and the team put this together and we decided to extend the 4th of July sale to make it a summer sale, basically today. Ideally though, I invested in a 6-week boot camp just like this. I paid $7,800. Okay. That's what I spent. And I would gladly pay this before. That's why when you guys see like, oh, 10 grand is totally worth it, right? Eventually, this will only keep going up as we go, as we get more qualified money in the thing, as we're funding more bigger deals. So, and I will say this, you can get it for on this webinar today, which is $497 down. You can join the next class.
We have a class starting, guys, in 2 days. So if you guys really want to kickstart your journey in investing in multifamily properties and gain the tools that you need, because you're gonna be competing against me. And I'll eat you alive if you
People are
don't know.
calling to buy already.
Okay, so you might as well get on my team.
I'll put my
If you
number,
wanna
text
get
me though.
really good at this business, then we have a class starting Thursday night. The whole program is valued here, I don't know what, 20 grand, $9.95. We're gonna give you a 60-day free multifamily mastermind club. You get a 53-page workbook. All here. All you gotta do is jump in and sign up. That's simple. Live, we've got this all set up. And if you jump in now for the class in the next 2 days, my tagline is, it's all in the numbers, and it truly is. If you're one of the first 3 registrants today, here's the registration page. This is a QR code. Here's the registration page. You can go in here. And this goes through the entire program. All the modules. You can look at the goodies that come with it. And you can look at my background and then tons more testimonials. You can just click on the button right here and it'll allow you to jump in and sign up if that's what you choose to do. We've got a couple different payment programs. So yeah, that's the deal.
All right, any questions, guys? So by the way, it was like Robert was here without being here. That's the power of this as well. And by the way, just so you know, let me go out of this here. I'll go to the next slide. All right. So I want to talk about the community and offer you guys to be a part of it, because not only will you get 60 days inside the mastermind, which is enough time to actually find a deal, underwrite a deal, and have one starting to get it going. Okay, people have done it before. Not that you can, but it's how much time you do at it, right? And the amount of investment, if you did $4,000, let's say $497 to put it down, right? Just to start this journey and be like, man, this is it. I want to start, what do you guys say? Financial freedom, all that. Then you're a part of this community right here. So the cool thing is we go to events, we go to masterminds. We're going to be doing another event out here in Miami. We're doing an event in Boston, and it's really going to be more times. I have my own other business. I take all my money now and I put it into real estate, right? Build my business to do it. It's the best way to do it. I think that's always what it is. And knowledge, this type of knowledge will teach you forever. You'll be able to learn how to do this forever. And one thing I like that Robert said is like underwriting. He made underwriting. So I would buy all these masterminds about underwriting and still kind of be like, I think I know how to run underwriting. It just gets you past that. They put it in, and now we're on to the meat and potatoes of it, of actually getting a deal financed, which is, I've seen this happen for classmate after classmate and classmate, people getting themselves into good deals because of that. All right. And this is another 22-year-old kid. This is the one made me, man, what am I doing in my life? I'm 44 years old. This 22-year-old kid, Jake Sisk, said it was great timing when I got into the club and I got connected with Robert. A couple weeks later, we got the deal under contract. I don't think it would have happened without Robert. He was answering questions for me. I'm a college student, 20 years old, and I got my first deal under contract at 1.8 million. This is what I mean. Like, people were just in there, and he said it was great timing. I got into the club and I got connected, and a couple weeks later. So literally, you can be a part of the program. You can be part of the mastermind. You can just bring a deal. Okay. I'm really good at finding deals. I'm going to bring some deals to the group as well. Oh, we got some questions in here. Let's look at the questions. So you get the 10 module pro bonus bootcamp training, okay, live, which is live with everybody. So we really say it's 6 calls, but it winds up being 10 modules and 6 calls. He puts in a bonus class as well. So it's really like 7 for questions, answers, and we'll really hold your hand through the process. There's friends of the firm. You heard them mention Nelson. Team's a lot bigger than just me and Robert. We have the digital pro bootcamp course, which we sell separately for $9.95. If anybody wants that, you could reach out as well to us as well. You get membership free in the multifamily mastermind. This is, as we all know, I think we've all been part of some 25K masterminds or anything there. This is our version of it. And I will say this now, anybody who takes advantage of this offer, we get a significant discount on people who've done this towards the mastermind, okay, for first-time members, because you kind of need this first before if we throw you in the mastermind. This is like kind of the training wheels, right, before you ride the bike on your own. And then you get a 53-page workbook, which is just key to go through, okay? We go through it as a class, so you're not just lost on your own. And then what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna get to our multifamily finance workshop 2 tickets. So you can bring you and a friend. You come up tickets. Those are $9.97 each for today's offer. Okay, it's only offer today with that. So here's what you can do. You can leave right now and say goodbye and be lost on your own. Okay, 2 choices. Or you can put $497 down, or if you want, just put the whole $4 grand. I'll go over it in a second. And be on the point, being like Jake, being like Judith. Maybe it's you, Zoe. You know, we've all been part of grant stuff in a while, right? Donovan, right? And you could be the one, you know, bringing in your deal, getting it financed, right? It's one of the best feelings too. And especially, but there's no dumb questions here. That's the one thing I really want to stress. I'm always on these mastermind calls and I ask the questions and be like, Jeff, we like when you ask questions because I need to know. And then it's so funny because, you know, when I was younger, people always, you know, I was this homeschool kid and people who thought you were a brainiac. But I would always ask so many questions because I want to know. And people are like, oh, you shouldn't ask that many questions. And then I'm out with somebody else and people think I'm so smart. It's because I asked the questions, right? That's how we all get there, right? So this is the place where you can ask the questions, get the result, and just picture that's what you want. That's the choice you want to. You can say goodbye, there's no problem. But I put my number in the chat. You can text me live. I'll send you the link to apply. There's no pressure. This isn't like any hard close thing. It's really to see if you're a great fit. But here's what a day in your life looks like as a member of the Finance Insider community, okay? And I want you to script out your day this way. What's the most valuable thing? Put it in the chat. What's the most valuable thing? Is it time or money? Put it in the chat. What's more valuable? Especially if you know how to get other people's money, you know? Let me look at the questions here. Is Robert still willing to work with me on financing a deal? Financing for a deal. If I can't do this. Yeah, Robert's very open on stuff. For Mark's and Millichap, you'd have to go and work through him directly. If you want, just text me. I'll connect you with him. Or I'll connect you with that too as well. But yeah, here's what it is. If you have a deal right now under it. Okay, so this is it's time. So you start the day with clarity. Okay, you're not guessing. You know your next financial move because you got tools, strategy, and guidance to back it up. Mid-morning, this is kind of works. You get inside your member portal. You look at the market update, you see where it is. You analyze the new deal structure, dig into a training module, training that Robert has. Everything is built to keep you sharp and ahead of the curve. 3 p.m., you check in with the community, investors, operators, professionals are actually doing the work. Questions get answered quietly, insight is freely shared, and the conversations are focused and not noisy. Later, you catch on a deep dive session. Maybe it's a live Q&A with Robert. Okay, Barbara, so there you go. Maybe it's step-by-step breakdown of a real deal. Either way, it's practical, advanced, and immediately usable. By the end of the day, you're not overwhelmed. You're dialed in because inside Finance Insider, you don't just learn finance, you learn how to move like a professional. So this is Judith again. I should play this really quick because someone's texting me right now.
Judith, I am new to real estate investing and I participated in the Finance Insider Multifamily Finance Bootcamp. And then I transitioned to the class. So I just need for you to know I am completely out of my element, but Bob and Nelson have really provided a lot of information as well as how engaged they are during the classes, answering every participant's question if they have any, and they're accessible afterwards if you have follow-up questions. They provided incredible resources that assist with underwriting, with securing financing. They had speakers that actually bolstered all of that as well, and you're able to network with not only like-minded people, but experienced investors that will guide you and direct you and let you know if you have a viable deal. So if you're on the fence about joining this group, you should definitely do it. Whether you're a seasoned investor or a newbie like myself, I highly recommend it.
One thing I like about Robert, he asks questions in the group for everybody to answer. If someone has more stuff, it's very interactive how it is. Let me see, there's a little more questions. All right, Barbara has a lot of questions here. Barbara, here, just text me. That's the best way to do it too. All right, so this is the 6-week deal today only, okay? It's $39.97. You can sign up right now today for $497 down, and then you'll be a part of the next class, okay? You'll get the 6-week live pro boot camp, and that's live. You'll get access to Robert and asking questions. You'll get, and not that it's like anything big, but it is big. You know what I mean? Like he'll take time to do this with you too. You'll get the 10 module boot camp course, the 60-day multifamily mastermind, okay? You get the discount on the mastermind, so you can be a part of our community, our family as we fund deals. And we have great people in there. We vet it pretty well. That's why we kind of have everybody apply. Everybody. And then 2025 Multifamily Finance Insider Workshop, you get 2 tickets to that. And then you get access to live calls with Robert, which is literally priceless. Literally, Robert could get paid as a consultant like $2,000 an hour, like I've been paid, right? Over the time, because he just knows knowledge that's on a different level, right? So this is the thing. It's originally 10 grand, right? So that's literally saving 6 grand for today. So I'm gonna click this link in a second. Let's see if we can go to it. All right, so this is it. This is the link. I'll text you, or you can go to it. So let me put it in the chat, or if Chris, you're around, put this in the chat here. So some people already texted me outside of this. That's why my phone was ringing. In it. And all right, so let me just go through and show you how you get signed up here. So here it is. So limited offer. You'll just go down here. This kind of explains everything into it. And then you're going to click this button right here, either one of these gold buttons, okay? And then right in here, you just put your email, phone number, and then put your street address, so we can send you your t-shirt. If we have any t-shirts left, if we don't have to print up new ones, you can help us with the new design. But this is it. $497, okay, is the deposit, and then $875 weekly the next 4 weeks, okay? So it's $497 fed up, it's 7-day trial, and then $875 per week after the trial period. Or you can do 5 payments of $799 in the next 5 weeks, or you can just finance the whole thing at once, right? So literally for $497 down, you are part of this club today, right? And we have PayPal in here, credit card, anything like that as well. So the address to go to that is, and some people are texting me, I'll text you the address too as well. Well, let's text me. Yep. And let me see. Obviously, t-shirts as well too. By the way, would you guys like to design t-shirts? Any questions? Anybody want to come off mute now? Zoe, I want to hear some live feedback how it was playing the audio on the thing. We can get the recording to those here as well. I'll also do a call with you guys later on. Maybe we'll bring Robert on as well. I want to show you guys really quick while we're here, because we're spending in here, just because I've built out a lot of this stuff. Let me go into this here. Just one little bonus for you guys staying on so late. Let's show us here. So if we go to design. Any questions anybody has? Any deals you guys are looking at right now? That you want to say? Donovan, so you go into here, projects. All right, and then let me search this here now. All right, so I'm gonna just show you this quick here. So this is what's cool about that you're getting in the mastermind. So I'll just show you this. Let's see if I can share it. Let's go into this here. There we go. All right, so this is the newer multifamily mastermind that we're going to be getting into. So your territory, you're going to have access to all these places that we are. We're going to give networking events, how to raise capital connections. You get to partner with Robert. So this is a little bit more about Robert that I didn't go through. He's managing director of Marks & Millichap, 30 years in financing real estate, $3 billion in debt and equity. Lehman Brothers Equity Sales, 100 million hedge fund manager, principal real estate investment, founder of Finance Insider, which is this training platform. And then Northwestern U, he has his Kellogg MBA, ranked number 2 in the US. So you're gonna get the LOL templates, find the deal school, you're gonna get access to this stuff right away. Our founder, and then these are the templates that we went over, the toolbox. And the hard goal is to get you a deal under contract in as little as 3 months. Not guaranteed, but that. So these are the next steps, okay? So find a deal, which we actually didn't go through in the platform. You have places you can find the deal right in there that you can look. Then on the calls, we'll analyze the deal. Then make an offer, then secure financing and sign contracts. It's really, we try and make it extremely simple. It's gonna take a little bit more. We each have different things. So do we have a short questionnaire on here? So when you go back to the site, let me go back to the site over here. We'll go into this here. We do everything by application. That's how we have a really good group. And you click here. Actually, I don't think this is the application one. Oh, the people who texted me live, I'll send you the application. Yeah, there's one where you can fill out an application. If you text me live, I'll send you the application as well too. Because that way we make sure we have the right people in the room. You know, our goal is not to just take money from everybody. All right, we got another question here. It's Robert. So I'll connect you with Robert tomorrow. This is my first little go away doing this without Robert here. I will probably do more of these meetups too. I did a calculation show, so it's good. Significant 4-year rent growth. Be able to walk away or adjust your offer price to compensate their slow growth. So Barbara, we'll answer, just text me. We'll answer that question together. All right, my biggest thing is getting ready. All right, any other questions before we exit this? I do think we had a few people join the program, it looks like here. So welcome, Rashid, and welcome everybody else. Any other questions anybody has? Donovan, Zoe? Before I go, questions, comments, or concerns? No. All right, if not, I can take this off. Great meeting you, so I'm sure I'll see you at another event, whether it's a Robert event or another real estate event by somebody else. Come and say hi, and Donovan as well too. Great meeting. I wish I saw someone's faces because people do this. I do this all the time. I know this is the way this webinar is, and then I'm out at an event where I do something, and people come up to me and be like, "I saw you there." Yeah, now we know a little bit about each other. I know a little about you guys. All right.